Well, it is the Boxing Review Show. It is episode 10, double digits, Anthony.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought it?
Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
Not long now.
And where we are, we're at Bell's Gym in Altrincham. So it's a bit special today. It's a bit different, the pod, because we're just kind of running with it a little bit. Of course, it is a review show, so we're going to get to all the action, but we've just witnessed something here at Bell's Gym that is pretty extraordinary, really. You're wearing a t-shirt that promotes Mentel, which is a mental health charity, and we're going to find out a bit more about that, because the reason we are here, a very special fella has done 24 hours of hitting the bags. His friends and family have all come in and helped, but he's gone through 24 hours. Dave Thompson, a man very well known to us through his sports photography, he's a matchroom snapper and all the rest of it.
Along with Robbo.
Robbo, of course, who's here as well, of course. But in terms of what you've just done, you, Steve Bell, who of course we all know Steve Bell from his amateur career, his professional career, and he's got a very successful little gym here in Altrincham. You've gone through with the other coaches, your Will as well, your lad, 24 hours, you just stopped. How are you feeling, Dave?
I just said to you before we went live that I just feel enormously grateful. It's not like, obviously my body's tired and everything else, but the overriding emotional is just being so grateful to people that have come out. Yesterday people came out and told you the numbers at the end there. It was just incredible. When me and Belly started this idea, or I went to him and spoke to it, and it was just, we were worried that we weren't going to get enough people. We thought, what if we don't get to 5583? Do you know what I mean? We'll feel like we failed.
Yeah, well, just on that, because this is about your lad George.
Yes.
You lost George October 2021 to suicide.
Correct.
You are working for Mentel now to raise money to try and help other families that have been through what you've been through, to try and anyone trying to cope with this. And just to, I think the best way to explain what you've just done and what it means to you and what you've achieved is when you finished the 24 hours, this is what happened.
I don't know whether you've seen the Facebook post this morning. Some people might have, some people might not, but as you know, the target was 5583. The second target was 6556. England and Wales the first one, the whole of Great Britain the second one. Lives lost to suicide in 2021, George was one. Okay? After a few delirious hours in here overnight watching the chase with Ryan and Steve and everybody else, I did some totting up of the people who came yesterday, and from memory, the people who came yesterday did 4,182 minutes, and amongst them, we totted up, we added our hours from 2 PM yesterday to 7 AM this morning, and at that moment, the total was 7,012 minutes. So, we've done it. I can't not thank Steve for letting us use his gym. It was just, as soon as I rang him with this daft idea about how hard is it to punch a bag for 24 hours, he didn't say, what are you talking about? He just said, well, it'd be hard. Why don't you do it at the gym? And so straight away I knew that we had somewhere to come, and I don't even know where he is. I can't see you, Steve, but there. Honestly, he's always been he's been a great friend since I used to photograph you at Arnie's gym, and I can't thank you enough for doing this for us. I also need to thank everyone who's sponsored, because I don't know, when I came here yesterday I think it was $2.5 grand. Someone said to me it's just over 4 now. I can't tell you what that will help Mentel with. So many things, community work, getting facilitators trained, so much stuff. But thank you all for coming. Some people come twice, some people come 3 times. Jamie, thank you from when we properly talked in Ireland and told you about the idea, and you were like, I'll do anything, I'll share posts, you helped generate the interest. Stacey, wherever she's gone, for having us on the radio the other week, that just helped massively. So yeah, we're going to do this last picture. We're going to have a pint of Guinness. So thank you very much. Thank you. Just stand up there. That was
Well, it was understandably very emotional at the end there, Dave, with your family around you and everything else. But what you explained there about the minutes, and so, I mean, obviously, tell us firstly about Mentel, and then I want to know a little bit more about George.
So I found Mentel after George died. Obviously, I was struggling with missing him, really struggling with missing him. and someone recommended it to me. It's not just for people who have suffered a form of grief. It can be a place. It's for men over the age of 18, and it can be anything that men struggle with: relationships, finances, work, family. Bereavement, absolutely anything that you can think of is what men go to Mentel for. There are 7 circles around the Northwest face to face, and I'll try and remember one. There's Stockport, Congleton, Crewe, Hyde, Macclesfield, Chester and Wilmslow. So they're the 7, but they meet on either a Monday or a Thursday, depending on which circle you look for. But they have every Monday night from 7 till 9, there's a Zoom, an online Zoom, and that can be accessed obviously from anywhere in the world. And you can just go, and it's the biggest piece for Mentel is confidentiality. So whatever gets said within those online circles or face-to-face circles does not leave that circle. And that's what makes it so successful really as a charity, and it helped me just immensely.
Now we've seen George's flag, it's a horrible thing that you can't ever envisage this happening, can you? But no. George the lad, clearly super popular kid. I know his mates take the flag everywhere with them, don't they? Everywhere they go. Yeah. Stockport County, he was a mad fan, and they've been brilliant, haven't they? So just give us a little insight to George the fella.
He was. I've said in a few interviews in the build-up to this event that we are blessed to have had 2 fantastic sons. Will, his brother, they were so close. He saw George saw Will within 5 minutes of Will being born. And that just, I swear that's what created a bond between them. They were so tight as brothers. But George himself was just everything. He was dealt such a bad hand. That's the way we feel now as a family, that he did nothing wrong to have the feelings that he had. He didn't abuse any substances, he didn't drink a lot of alcohol. He just started to drink alcohol because he was just 18 and probably started when he was about 12, who knows. But, if he's like his dad. But no, he wasn't one, he wasn't drinking all the time. He wasn't doing the things that you would think would trigger some form of mental health. He just was dealt the worst possible hand. He was fabulous, he really was. And I know people will say that about the children, but he could be so funny. He could just cut you down with a real dry line, and you just have to laugh. But he was very emotional in that he would show us his emotions. So it wasn't like he did keep everything in. We think perhaps he did keep a little bit more in than we knew. But yeah, he was a wonderful lad. We're blessed we had 18 years with him. We wanted many more. But yeah, we miss him desperately, daily. We've found ways we've found coping mechanisms. We've both had counselling. Caroline's seen a counsellor. I've obviously seen a counsellor, then also got Mentel. But Mentel doesn't give me advice or anything like that. It's just a place for me to go and talk. I know that I'll have a dip after this. I know I will. I call it a bungee rope because I've had this to focus on for 3 months, and I've just loved the training and I hate running, but going running, you know what that's like. Going running and getting on my bag at home, and then actually having this now and sitting here at 2:30 in the night with Ryan Oliver, the worst comedian you've ever heard. But all of us were just laughing. Because we were obviously tiredness kicks in, you get a bit giddy, don't you? And then the end was just. I said to Jamie, I was going to go on a bag.
It's Jamie Moore, who's one of the fighters that have helped you with this,
So I spoke to Jamie at Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron fight, and he said, "Oh, what's your tattoo about?" Bang, and a pair of us were in tears then because my whole sleeve's about George. And he said, "Right, tag me in anything, whatever you're doing." Because obviously he knows Steve, and so he's like, "I'll do anything." And he shared stuff, and he came along, and I thought I was actually on the bag. I'd done 3 rounds on the last 12. And I thought, you know what? Jamie said, do I want to go on pads? And I went, no, I'm just going to go on the bag. And I thought, actually, it'd be nice to just do pads with him at the end. Because we had a real nice moment in Ireland, and we just had a good chat and everything. And to be fair, he picked some absolutely belting shots to just let me get so much anger out. Of just, he said it was emotion.
After 24 hours.
It was unbelievable, that last round.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
How you find that? Where'd you find that from?
I genuinely mean it when I was watching you and Will, and obviously Dave, knowing you such a long time, Will was with Nigel Travis, he was doing his bit, you was with Jamie. I genuinely mean it when I say that's one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen in my life. Up close, and I genuinely mean that, mate. I was like, Jesus, walked in, I thought, someone started cutting onions next to me, but I was like, wow, no, I was very proud to know you there, mate. I genuinely mean that, and I think watching that, but like Dom said, how he was pulling out those shots, me and you done pads about 24 hours ago.
I know, but you
and
know,
you've not stopped since then.
I don't know. There's been times like during the night, so from like during the wee small hours, we were just properly tapping.
Yeah.
We were just trying to conserve energy and everything.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, it got to 6 o'clock and we opened the doors again and a couple of people trickled
That
in
gives
and
you
we
the-
just started to go again. And yeah, I know that, I must admit, I think we've about 40 odd rounds to go. I thought, I'm flying. Brilliant. And then with about 24, I thought, oh, hang on. Have I gone a bit early here? You know, like we're doing 400 metres or something, and you sprint, or 800 metres, and you sprint a bit early. But yeah, so that's why I thought, well, do you know what? If I do that with Jamie, I've got someone to. If I'm just on a bag, and it was that busy. You saw it. We were doubled, 3 on a bag, 2 on a bag. I can't. If you're on a bag, you can just on your own. You can hit a bit more, can't you? But if there's somebody else there, you've got to time it and all of that. And I didn't want that for me last round. I said right from the start, I want to have plenty left so I can just unleash whatever it is that's in there. If I didn't even think I might get to that point. I figured my body might fail me, my knees might go, my shoulders are knackered. I thought they might go. But whether it's him, whether it's George, I don't know. But something got me to that final bell, and I don't know. I'm not going to compare it to you know, an actual fight or anything like that. But it's just something that was the people made it. Everyone, you know, me and Steve were saying what we're going to do, how we're going to get people here, and you know, TV and radio have been great in helping it. Social media's helped it, but people still don't have to come, do they? People obviously resonated with it. I don't know. One guy drove from Bacup. There was a guy yesterday. And I said, I don't know you, what's your name? I introduced myself, and he said, oh no, sorry, I live in Bacup. I don't come here, I don't come to this gym. I just saw it on Granada Reports. So it's just been brilliant. I can't thank Steve enough for putting it on. It's just been a diamond.
Well, it's top that the boxing community rallied round you for this, but just give us a link then for people that want to donate or find out a bit more.
Yeah, so actually the Just Giving page, if you Google Just Giving Mentel Boxing, which is MENTELL. See it on Croller's shirt there.
There it is. Not very often I'd wear sky blue, but very
I know, fair play.
Very proud to wear it.
So Just Giving Mentel Boxing, and we're going to close the page on October the 27th, which is the day that George died.
Right.
That's the date that he died on. So we're going to leave it open for another couple of months, just in case. But yeah, if anyone wants to go on it, but just share anything to do with Mentel that you see on social media, because you just don't know that one guy that might see it that thinks I need to go there, and I keep banging this drum, a woman might see it and she might think, my husband needs to go, my brother needs to go, my dad needs to go, or they need me. That male person in their life needs somewhere to go. So whilst the circles are all men and 18 plus, women also send men to Mentel. So anything you see, it's such a great charity. I can't bang the drum loud enough. They are just something else.
Right, well, get on that hopefully then. Get a few more links on there, a few more quid, all being well. But listen, been brilliant. Matt, just yesterday and coming in again today and banging a few bags and it's just been a great idea, and it's been brilliant coming in and doing a little bit as well.
Is there any footage of you in your short swimming shorts?
I don't know. Those old swimming shorts.
Housewife's favourite, eh?
Oh, well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, pal.
Thanks for everything. Thanks for the coverage as well, boys. Appreciate it.
But listen, go and enjoy your pint of Guinness now.
Well deserved.
And I'm sure there's more if you can stay awake.
It's like one of those rubbish London pints, isn't it?
Dave, it's top man. Brilliant things going on here at Bell's Gym. What a man. We are going to get to obviously reviewing the boxing from a couple of days ago, but it just feels like there's more important things going on sometimes, do you know what I mean? And I think we've witnessed that. We've witnessed the boxing community rallying around one of those men, Jamie Moore, of course. We had you, obviously, I think you were our first guest on this podcast, but you've come in today, Jamie, and done your bit as well. You shared the final round with Dave, and it's tough, these things, isn't it?
Emotional.
Jay, do you know that final round then? I said it to Dave then, I genuinely meant it, said it to Dom. I've not seen I mean, I think I've seen a lot of inspirational things, but that was one of the very most inspirational things. When I saw him and his son, Will, you and Nige doing the pads for the last round after punching for 24 hours, mate, that must have been hard for you, mate. I think we just said it then. As someone around me started cutting onions the moment I seen it, so I don't think it must have been
how do you not feel that? You know, like from as a dad, as a man, being able to do that alongside his son, but for the reasoning behind what he's doing, he was just so emotional. And when Dave told me the story, I met him for the first time in a long time. I've known Dave for 25 years, but I saw him in Dublin when Chantel was fighting Katie. And he told me the story of what had happened in the reception, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, listen, whatever you want to do, whatever you need, I'll help you do it. And we've tried our best. We've tried to promote it as much as we can on social media. Came down here yesterday, did a couple of hours with him, did loads of pads with everyone who was down to start doing stuff. And then come back today and done another couple of hours and finished off the last round with him there. And I'd said to him, do you want to do some pads? And he went, do I? Fuck, what I do pads? He said, I'm knackered. And then he came over to me and he said, listen, I've been thinking, I want to do the last round. And he started to get a bit upset, and I started to cry straight away. And he was like, it's going to be emotional. I went, listen, I don't care, I'll do it with you, no problem. And God, listen, it's not nice, but I'm just glad. I feel privileged to have been able to be there and be part of it.
It is good, and you mentioned it as well. You know, boxing's good at that, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like looking after, because he's such a familiar face to everybody, isn't he? Around the scene as a snapper, as a photographer.
I've not seen another sport as good as boxing coming together when people need it.
I totally agree with that. I think, listen, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes in boxing, like they do most sports, but when there's tragedy, I honestly don't believe there's another sport, or the boxing family, as they call it, how people pull together, get behind such a great cause, and inspirational to see.
It wasn't even just a boxing community though as well. I think it's a reflection of Dave and his family and how well thought of they are, because you always get good turnouts to events like this because it is for the right reasons. But the amount of people who've turned up and the dedication and commitment the friends and family have given to it is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Like to do that for the vast majority of them doing it for 24 hours, it's like insane. So hats off to them.
I think as well, obviously there was Dave, his son Will, Stevie Bell, who obviously we all know very well. Those three did the 24 hours, not just them. Ryan's already had a mention though, he's already had a mention.
Matt
Matt hasn't had a mention. Matt also did it as well. So Ryan wants more attention, but you know, we'll give him a bit more attention in a bit.
He's going to put some shorter shorts on.
Short one, shorter than Dom's yesterday.
Just sit down for a quick second. We'll just get you.
Come here, Ryan. Come here.
Just so I mean, you've not got a mic on you there, but you know, just are you feeling all right now?
The shortest shorts I've ever seen in my life.
I'm all right.
His mic will pick you up anyway. You feeling all right now?
Tired, yeah.
You've had your pint of Guinness. You gonna have any more?
No.
Ryan, of course, was a good pro. You've sacked that for you this side of the ropes, teaching people now, aren't you?
It was a nice compliment.
Decent, solid.
I was all right.
What was your lightweight?
Well, should have been right. I boxed at 7 different weights, but we don't talk about it. I think we're world titles on. I'm coaching and stuff now, but that was good today. That was really hard.
Well,
right, well, go and get another pint down you. Go on.
I'm going home. I was waiting to say bye to you all.
Cheers, right. Thank you, mate.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
See you in a bit.
Take care, mate.
Just wanted to get into your gym as well, because obviously we are here for a very special reason today, but want to find out what's going on with everything. And I know that there's a certain white rhino that's in your gym now.
We actually trained him a couple of years ago for the fight during lockdown, and which actually fell through on fight week. So I've always had a good relationship with Dave. Always got on with him, and then he walked away from the sport. Just recently made a comeback, and then he's been told under no uncertain terms that people won't give him fights unless he's taking it seriously. And ironically, his thought process was, if I'm going to take it seriously, I'm going to go to someone like Nige and Jamie. So I don't know where that thought process
I was
comes
about
from.
to ask, like, what's the carry-on like in your gym at the minute?
Do you know what? It's just Ace. And I get Dave. You know, he's a complex character, but I get him, and he can fight. He can really fight, and he's, you know, for one of the only times in his whole professional career, he's committed and he's training properly. So I really like this fight for him. Obviously Fraser Clark, his resume speak for itself.
Yeah.
But the pros, amateurs and pros are different games. And Dave's got a lot of experience in the pros. And you know, his attributes, very typical of a lot of talented fighters. So a lot of them are lazy. And Dave fell into that bracket as far as I'm concerned. And that's why he got away with it. Now he's training. Honestly, I don't think there's any stopping him.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, you've got a lively gym as well. Obviously, we had you as guest, so you kind of, we spoke a lot about Chantel and Katie, but that one's nailed on now, isn't it, for November? So we're going to see that one, that one same weight as well and all that.
I'm hearing of a fight, I know it's not been announced yet, which could be an absolute belter and steal the show. On the same night, you've got Jack Catchwell fighting Yorgi.
Yeah.
Akib's got a good fight that night, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I know, I'll wait for it to be announced, but...
It's nearly done. It's nearly done, so we'll wait for the official announcement. But listen,
that could be a belter.
That's a great fight for Akib. I wouldn't take a fight like that for Akib.
So what's the fight? I know it's not nailed on yet, but what you're hoping for, can you not tell us?
Well, I'm not really supposed to mention it. Why? What have you heard?
Oh, you don't want to be breaking any embargoes or anything like that. But
They're the former Commonwealth champion.
Yeah.
At featherweight, good lad, coming off a good win.
Yeah.
It's him.
Go on, finish the job.
Okay. You're going to get me in trouble here.
Well, no, because it's not confirmed.
Okay.
Well, we can say
supposedly.
that.
No, say allegedly before anything. It doesn't
Right.
matter, does it? Okay, allegedly. Akib Fiaz, Reece Bellotta.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fight.
Listen, if it comes off and it gets signed,
Yeah.
it's a great fight. Bellotti's a good fighter,
Yeah.
very experienced. I wouldn't take a fight like that for Akib at this stage if he'd not been through some of the experiences and been matched the way, you know, you look at someone like Kane Baker.
He's been matched well.
You know, we matched him with someone like Kane in his fifth fight.
He got Ben Fields on his debut, didn't he?
Second fight.
Yes. Last
Not,
time
not,
out.
not because we wanted to throw him in the deep end, but I said from day one to Steve Wood, we need to match him well because he'll go backwards. And I don't want someone like Akib. He's very aggressive at the time when it comes to the amateurs. You put someone like that in with your generic journeyman and they'll blast him, do him, stop him, and he'll get a false sense of how good he is, where he's at, how hard he punches. We need to make sure we match him well. So the experiences he's had now as a pro allow him to be able to be not fast tracked, but step up a little bit quicker than he would be.
I was about to say, how many's he had now?
This will be his 13th fight.
His 13th fight, but at least half of them, if not more, have been good learning fights.
Definitely.
I think
Six
Akib's
or seven of
almost
those fights
the
are good learning
perfect
fights.
blueprint on like how a fighter should be brought along. Yeah, a good half of those
Listen,
fights.
his last fight, that Ion, I knew who he was.
Mate, it was
a real handful.
Anyone who Albert works with is going to be
based in Marbella. I knew him from back when I was training over there in Marbella. I knew he was an handful.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to come and Akib to fight kids who are going to come. And the first couple of rounds, they realise they're in with someone who's a bit better than him, and they just shell up.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Look what happened in the sixth round.
Yeah.
He nearly lost the fight because he got carried
done,
away.
He done
What a
unbelievable
perfect lesson
to
for
get
him.
up from that.
So you think about that now, going into this fight, if it comes off.
He's faced that bit of adversity.
Akib, he's in with a puncher again, but he now knows that he can't get carried away with himself because if he did, look what happened last time.
Yeah.
So he's been really, his apprenticeship couldn't have gone any better really. He's got a lot of, he's not really fought a southpaw, that's the only one what the boxer wanted ticking. Other than that, it's perfect.
He's got a great fan base as well, hasn't he? He
he sells tickets like mad.
There was a certain Garnacho there last time, wasn't there?
Yeah.
To watch him.
So Garnacho came in the changing room and you know, he really is building a big fan base now. And the way, you know, he was in charge of that fight last time, even though it was competitive. Then that sort of bump happened in the sixth round. He then came back and there was a real mad exchange in the seventh round. So he's not just sort of becoming an all-rounded fighter. He's exciting to watch as well. He's got the right sort of temperament and character. So I've always said about him, I really believe he can go all the way as long as he's developed properly. And I think this fight it's not an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the right fight at the right time.
Just a couple of the lads that don't get so much attention, and just going to ask you actually where we're up to.
Another good news who I'm a big fan of.
Mark Leach, who's a top fighter. I know he's had the one blip, hasn't he, basically?
Listen, that, in hindsight, that's
Liam Davis.
Liam Davis
he come up just short against a very, very good fight. I've been looking at
just we're in Telford the other week, weren't we? We saw what he's all about.
He really wasn't on form that night as well. You know, he got back into the fight as it went on, but he really wasn't on form. So, man, listen, anyone who knows Mark Leach knows how talented he is.
Yeah.
Salford Lomachenko.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I've always called him. And
Yeah.
you know, he's getting on now. He's nearly 30,
Yeah.
so he needs to get a move on. You know, this is a fight what's not been announced yet. It's not, and it's at featherweight, so
Yes.
it's not ideal for Mark because he's really a bantam, super bantam.
Yeah.
But he's more than capable of winning it because he's so skillful. You know, when you're a fighter like Mark who doesn't really get hit,
Yeah.
there's not many fights
Yeah.
until you go ridiculous into like higher weight
Yeah,
divisions
yeah.
where you go, I'd be sort of adverse to putting him in with them. So it's a good fight for him, and he's in that who needs him club, Mark, because he's not a big ticket seller, and it's like, well, why do I want to fight Mark Leach? Because he's
Totally.
bloody
As
so
a
hard to
coach,
fight.
like you've been honest here, you would be like, I
I'd
don't want
stay
anywhere
well away
near-
from him.
Yeah.
I'd stay well away from Mark Leach.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair though, someone like Akib Fiaz, even though he has shown a little bit of that vulnerability where he's been allowed to be dragged into a fight, on the whole of it, he's been flawless in terms of the opposition where he's gone in. So I'd be looking at that thinking, I don't really want to put my kid in against him. So, but you've got to take your hat off to someone like Bellotti, who's mandatory for the British title.
Totally.
Matt,
Well
Matt's
done.
off. Well done, Matt.
All the best,
Matt,
mate.
well done.
So he's taking a big risk,
Yeah.
you know, risking his mandatory position for the British title to fight Akib. You've got to take it after him.
Yeah. And one of the nicest lads you could ever possibly meet, Sean McGoldrick.
Yeah.
He won it. I mean, that was a brilliant night in South Wales. He won the British title.
One of my favourite ones, and it will always be as a coach, because he's such a beautiful kid, Sean.
Yeah.
And he was up against so much that night, you know, in terms of he's got a hand injury which he was going into the fight with, which made it really difficult for him. And he always wanted to win a legitimate title before he retired. And he's done that now. So whatever he does from now to the time he retires is a bonus. And I'm just glad that he got to achieve it, because a lot of people were saying to me, he's too nice, Sean.
Yeah.
You know, he's too nice to achieve them type of things. And I always believed in him. I always said, you know what, he'll do it. If he has it, if he gets his opportunity on the right time at the right night against the right opponent, he'll do it. And he did it. I just love that night. It was so good.
Yeah, fantastic. Jamie, always a pleasure.
You too, boys.
Lovely seeing you, and well done with the work that you've done with Dave Thompson. But
well done,
I'm sure we'll be in your gym very, very soon. Now that Dave Allen is back in with you, the White Rhino, obviously ahead of Fraser Clark, we'll have to pop in and see Big Dave. So
Anytime,
we'll
you're always
come and see
welcome,
him. So yeah, thanks again, Jamie. Cool. Now, it's like a conveyor belt now. Jamie Moore, obviously.
All the
We've had
good ones.
Dave
Now
Thompson,
we got the worst one for
Save the
last.
best.
We've got
Still
Stevie Bell, and now to give you, this is your gym. You've hosted this event.
is.
Dave's very grateful. It's a great gym. It's a, you know, firstly, we'll just give you the spiel about your career. You were the England captain, Commonwealth Games 2000. You were the captain of the England team in your home city. You had a very long amateur career.
I did, yeah.
You started off. You actually sorted out. You kind of brought Ricky Hatton through when he was a kid, didn't you? Kind of. That was the same gym when he was the first one.
Yeah.
You were the first one to take him on bags and things like that,
Yeah,
weren't you?
he was. Yeah, when I first met Ricky when he was like 10 and like this big, and I remember Ted Pete. Remember Ted Pete? God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He said, just check. He's seen him on the bags, and he was whacking out at the bags, Rick, when he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I was 13 at the time, and I could handle myself. I would used to take the little kids in the ring just to bring them on a little bit. And he went, just take this kid in the ring, see what he's like. So he looks all right in the bags. I went, yeah, all right. And he literally like bulldozed me to the corner of the ring and started whacking hell out of my body. And I was just like pointing at Ted, going, what the fuck's he? But yeah, he was a good kid. He was a good kid as a young kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you came through the amateurs, as I say, a long, good amateur career, and you did turn pro. You had a good go at that, and you, again, a bit like Nigel Travis, he's been spinning plates all his career. This fella, actor.
Mate, yeah.
Do you know what? I'll tell you
I
something now,
knew.
which I've not told anyone else. I don't think ever in any interviews. I didn't want to turn professional.
Right.
I wasn't really interested in turning pro. I would have quite happily have stayed amateur. I loved the amateur game. I think the amateur suited me massively. So yeah, I really didn't have any ambition to be a good pro.
You really had the computer scoring system. You had it nailed down to a T. I first remember the first time I ever watched Stevie fight was in the ABAs. Geez, let me think. 2000. Preston Guildhall.
Yeah.
Do you know who think you boxed? Rob.
Oh, Rob from Rob.
It was the heavy final.
From Jamie's old place.
Jeez, yeah.
Rob,
Not Connor.
Rob O'Connor.
Yeah, Rob O'Connor. Yeah.
Good fight as
Mate,
well.
he could fight. He could
A
fight.
good fight, and I think if I and Rob was, it was a very, very close fight, to be fair to Rob, and I really think if I hadn't have gone on to beat Rob, I think he would have gone on to be.
Yeah.
I think he'd have gone on to win the ABAs. He's that good.
23 years ago,
Yeah.
first time I watched
Is that what he
Steve
was?
Bell in action. Yeah.
How old
Yeah,
were you then?
really
About
was, 'cause obviously I watched
you
him
was
in
about
Commonwealth.
26 then, weren't you? Weren't you? You're a bit older than me,
I
aren't
was
you?
a teenager. Yeah. Fight next year.
Yeah. But you two go back a long way, obviously.
Yeah,
but
it's-
as pros, you train together
We
as
did.
well.
So when I started off, and not just because Steve is here, you're about bringing Ricky on. Stevie brought me on massively. He brought me on massively. We done plenty of rounds, didn't we?
Well, we did, yeah. We did
Stevie
spar a
brought
lot.
me on massively.
That was with Annie,
And
wasn't it?
vice versa, mate.
No,
Honestly,
mate,
no vice versa,
thank
believe
you,
me.
but
Honestly.
no, Stevie.
Anthony
it's
found
not
out,
just,
wasn't it?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Arnie at Arnie's gym over in Newton Heath, wasn't we?
Yeah.
And,
Good fun, wasn't it?
It was at the time. It was obviously me, Stevie Bell, you, Frankie
Yeah.
was a character.
Thank you, Gavin.
So yeah, I always feel now, I feel like I was at the brunt of everyone's jokes when I look back now.
Who, you?
Yeah.
Well, he's changed now. I think I've gone like the opposite way. He used to be like dead quiet and little bit shy. Now I was a bit of a.
The ego's
I was a
come
bit
out
of a.
now. Don't
bit
tell
of a dick.
them this.
Who you? No, oh sorry.
I do remember
And
seeing a little bit of footage of you doing an interview, and
Nah.
there was someone bollock naked jumping the bar.
That's what I
behind
was
you.
putting up with
that?
daily. I always remember that on Frank Warren
Defo won't me
TV.
that. That defo won't
I'm
me.
sure that's on YouTube
Good
somewhere.
times, good times.
It's got to be. It's got to
Yeah.
be. Then you're right. So you're obviously there. You trained there. You did a bit of TV work as well as in the boxing stuff, but you were doing Coronation Street. You were doing.
Yeah.
You've been in films and all the rest of it.
Shameless.
Yeah.
Shameless.
Shameless,
Yeah.
yeah.
So your Mrs. Rachel, she's a very successful actress. Isn't
Yeah,
she? She's been in lots
she's
of
doing
stuff.
really well at the minute. Yeah, it's funny because I think it was probably the year that I won the first one, the ABAs, was '97,
Yeah.
and that's the year I got the film. And I think it was also the same year that I got picked to go on the England squad, not to box for England, but just to go down to Crystal Palace, and that for me was like that's all I ever wanted to do. My ambition was to box for England and win the ABAs, and when I got picked to go on, and it was like all happened in '97. Did a film, won the ABAs, and went on the England squad. And I was literally like, what more do I need to do?
Life peaked.
Yeah, so I've always done the acting in between the boxing, which has always worked out well. If I'd not had a fight, I had a little bit of a job, not massive, but I always have a little bit party, Shameless, and
Yeah.
Carry on.
And what was the first that film that you were in that kind of launched that side of your career?
I was working at a swimming baths at the time, and it was a friend of mine who brought it in the evening news. It was an evening news because usually what happens with films.
Cheers, Jamie.
See, Jamie, what happens with films is they go to the agents, and you know, actors have agents, and they go to the agencies and see if they've got the right part for that person, the right person for that part, and they'd done this around the UK, and they couldn't find the part that I played. Obviously, no one wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So what they do is they have open auditions. So there was an open audition in the MEN, Manchester Evening News Arena, and it was to go and see. I think at the time it was Nigel Martin Smith who had to take that,
Right.
and he had his first opened an acting agency called Nemesis. So I went for that, and she brought it in to say, "Oh, look, there's a boxing film here for a gay role." I went, "You'd suit that." I thought, yeah, I'll have a look at that. It looks all right, that. It's a proper film. So I went for it, and funny enough, got it.
So the acting's been kind of an interesting little sideline for you, but just tell us a little bit about Bell's Gym.
Yeah, well, I finished, I think I had my last fight, and funny enough, on my last fight, which was against John Simpson,
Yeah.
and it was, the weight for me was, I think it's probably the only time in my career, well, probably the two, in the prize fighter and the John Simpson fight, where I should have just gone up. I always thought I knew my body, and I think as a young kid at 20 years old, featherweight was my weight, and I looked good at that, and I felt great at that. But as I got older, 35 years old, I should have gone up to lightweight, if not light welterweight, to be fair, and I looked terrible. And it's probably the only time, that and prize fighter, where I thought I've not done the weight right. Only in all of my fights, that's the only time I've ever thought I've never done it right. And the story is when. See you later, babe.
I'll see you
Thank
later.
you very much.
You're just over there.
Oh, thank you loads. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I boxed John Simpson on the Saturday, and I didn't tell anyone. I started work on Corrie on the Monday.
I know what happened here. You got a black eye as
I
well,
got
and
a
you
black
never get black
eye.
eyes.
So I went to, in the casting,
Yeah.
you have obviously casting, I went to that previously I think about 2 months before when I got the role. And the casting director, Dorothy Andrews, I think it was at the time, she said she knew a box, and I told her I've got a fight coming up on the Saturday, and she went, "Are you going to get hurt?" And I went, "Nah." I went, "Listen," I went, "I'm a top amateur boxer." I said, "I never get hit. I never get hit." And usually I don't. And that fight, I was like, blah, boom, bang, bing, bang. Scars everywhere. So I went in with a massive black eye, stitches. And funny if they covered it up, or they tried to cover it up. And that's how I sort of, that got me out of boxing. Yeah. That was because I was ready to go. I knew I'd had enough. And going on Corrie, and I was on it for a little while, that was my opportunity to sort of leave boxing and focus on that. And I think that helped me in a way. And then when I finished Corrie, I thought I'll do a little bit of training, and that's how I got this place. So it's sort of it's worked out in the right way. I've been really lucky, to be fair.
Yeah, and you've got a very bustling place here. You get a few celebs in here as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I didn't know really much about Altrincham, but I knew it was a well-off-to-do place, and I knew it'd work. I just knew a boxing gym would work if it was good, if it was a nice place to train. So we sort of class it as a boutique boxing gym because it's not your average amateur spin sort of gym. And so I wanted to make it nice. It's obviously not looking as nice today because we've had a 24 hours of mayhem. But yeah, it's sort of, people love it, and the one thing I wanted to get from this was, and you know what we're like in our gyms, I couldn't wait to go to the gym because of the social side of it. Because the training is the hardest thing in the world. Ant will tell you, you have to put yourself through some mental and physical, without a doubt. And if you've got a good team behind you, if you've got a good atmosphere, it makes it such a better place, and it makes you like really want to do it. It makes you really want to go to the gym. So that's what I wanted here, and I think we've got that with the people who come.
I'm probably right in saying it, and that's probably helped. I know you said like you was ready to walk away from the sport when you did, but I don't know what you think, and I think about it myself, but that helps fill the void because you're still around boxing, you're still having the crack, because you do without. You miss the banter, you miss the crack with the lads and the girls, and so when you're around all that, it probably helps fill that void.
And I think there's so many fighters, we know ourselves who have found it really hard to leave boxing and have struggled after have left boxing, to put it to one side. And you're a massive, a good example of someone who's gone on and gone in that different direction and done well.
One thing I just want to put to you though, because you just said to me before that you couldn't remember even having a drink with this fella who's mad for Guinness now.
I don't think he's ever bought me a drink.
Since he's stopped
I know.
fighting,
I remember you saying to me, I was like, nah, shut up, Dom. He doesn't. I don't think he ever drank when I was with him.
I didn't.
I'm sure
he
used to drink orange juice.
You work with certain people and peer pressure and stuff, and at 36 years of age, you bow down to it.
Bad influence.
Do you know what though? I think we did have a drink once. I'm going to tell you now. You boxed at York Hall, I tell you now. You boxed at York Hall, and you met one of your old England teammates, Danny Apper. Danny Apper.
Yeah.
And I remember going into I can't think what the place is called. It was a bit wild. It was a bit wild, and he had a younger brother. Was he called Lee?
Yes.
Lee Ballard. I was crazy. It was crazy.
Please. I do remember that.
And I'm sure that was the one time we had a few drinks.
Yeah.
That was around there, Bethel.
I always remember. Listen, so
do you know what I think that night might have been? That night might have been. Do you remember? What's the worst boxer in Britain called? What's his name?
Oh, Robin.
Robin
He made
Deacon.
his,
I'm sure Robin Deacon made his debut there.
He won as well. Yeah, he won.
Only
Kevin
one he won.
Mitchell. Yeah, geez, that is that night. So Kevin Mitchell, he boxed Ghanaian.
He boxed Vinnie Mitchell.
No, I know we did.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
but
sorry,
not
sorry,
that night.
right,
Not that night.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin. And he did. And do you remember Anthony Delina, a former professional?
Yeah,
So we had one night out, and I don't know if you remember this. he come home without his shoes on. He actually did come home without his shoes on. This is in a proper flashback, yeah.
He was a rough diamond, that lad.
Yeah, so we'll have a drink soon and one of us will come home
We'll
without
have
our
a
shoes
couple
on.
of Guinnesses.
Yeah, well done with everything that you've done today, Steve, and I hope the business continues to flourish and everything else. So
Thank you
and
very
thanks
much,
very much
boys.
for your time. So there you go, the one and only Stevie Bell.
Yeah.
Well, the Boxing Review show is a little bit back to front this week, Anthony,
I
for
think
reasons
it's
that
allowed.
we've explained,
Yeah.
obviously because we're still here in Bell's Gym, of course, but what we're going to get to now, we normally start the show with pretty much what you've been up to and what you have been up to, because I know, because I've been pretty much with you every day for the last week.
Seen a bit too much of you, mate.
Yeah, basically. Didn't want to say it, you said it.
Yeah.
So last week we were in London for all the build-up for the press conference. There was community events, there was the weigh-in, there was yourself doing a Q&A in Southend. You did a session in Southend where you were training to give some technical advice and everything, some fighters in Southend. You did a Q&A, then there was obviously another Q&A on Saturday that we were involved in.
Yes.
And then the event. So it was a full Joshua week, obviously not the week that we had envisaged originally, but it all went on, and I think the general feeling in that week was that, well, it's not ideal, it's the best of a bad job, but at least we get an event. All the fighters get paid up the undercard, which Joshua was very clear in saying, and we actually spoke to Josh at length. And again, what you look at it now, I mean, firstly, the fight week itself, it still felt like a Joshua fight week, didn't it?
It absolutely did, and listen, that the weigh-in at Westfield, it was like, it was like one of the Beatles. It was like, it was the Beatles. It was just getting mobbed of young fans, girls screaming his name. And I say this all the time, and people would go, you feel something? He was getting X amount, so many millions. But what that lad's had to deal with, in my opinion, for the last 10 years, at least since the Olympics, it's unbelievable, and how he handles it, how he gives people the time. And I really do, because sometimes I think, you feel for him, because he's like the Joshua media. He's unbelievable. It's like nothing else, and that's been every fight almost for the past 12 years or so. And now he handles it, but it certainly felt like a big fight week. Whether people have their opinions on a late opponent change or whatnot, but there was still a very big fuss around Anthony Joshua, and there always will be.
Josh, can I just have another mic? We'll just bring. Are we all right to bring Stacey in? Have you wrap that up? Oh. I've popped up here.
Say bye,
Oh right, no, it's just next. Right, listen.
This little bromances that's going on here. That's it. Nice to see you. Take care.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I wanted to grab her with us, but she's bit. I know. It's my fault. Totally my fault.
You asked him, Josh.
No, you did. So basically, we can still carry on, can't we? Just pick up from that.
I'll just do like a soft dip and that'll go back into
Right. Okay.
Let me know
Right.
which day you want to come in and we'll sort it out. See you later.
See you, Stace.
You just said the same about Tesco.
Hey.
If there's a cut,
Right.
so
Yeah.
just
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're just very nicely interrupted by Stacey Copeland there, so we'll just pick that up. And Stacey, of course, Commonwealth champion, had to retire. So I think it was bad knee that
Went
forced
to
her
the
out.
World
Good fighter though.
Championships,
Yeah.
medal or? Well,
As an amateur.
Absolutely, she did.
Very
Well,
unlucky
she's
that she
good.
wasn't in the right weight category as well.
At
You know,
the
she
time,
could have had the
would've gone
Olympic
to
dream.
Olympic Games for sure.
Yeah, but Stacey Copeland, another one that's been back in this brilliant event here at Bell's Gym in Altrincham, but she's just gone. But anyway, we're talking Joshua Fight Week, and you're talking about what he's had to deal with. I always find it really, when you sit down and chat to him though, he's always impressive, isn't he? It doesn't matter how long a day is.
That's what I'm saying. How he gives people the time, and you feel like as well, you're always getting his attention. He's not just going through the.
Because he asks more questions. He asks as many questions as he answers.
Of course, he'll ask questions and stuff. And I just think it's something, and I've realised that more and more as we speak to Big AJ.
But people have used that element. He does ask questions, and people have. I've heard people comment saying, "Well, is that not a sign of weakness because he's not so mentally sure of himself?" And well, no, maybe
he's not a robot. He's proven he's not a robot.
It's good to be inquisitive anyway, isn't it? You never stop learning. Every day's a school day.
You can't. Yeah, every day is a school day, and the if people had accused him of being robotic or being, you know, perfectly media trained or out like that, do you know what I mean? I think it's great he asks questions back and he gives different answers.
Now then, the actual fight night then,
Yeah.
what we witnessed a few days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, if we start with the main event, obviously, because it was Anthony Joshua against Robert Helenius. Again, I think, well, firstly, there was a little bit of booing, wasn't there? I think there's a lot of people there that
2 or
don't
3
really
rounds in.
understand what they're watching sometimes,
Yeah.
and it's a tentative start, which, again, you may have your thoughts on that. He got the job done in the 7th round in the end. It was a great knockout. It was a show-reel kind of knockout for him.
Yeah.
But he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, Joshua, isn't he, basically?
Joshua could not have won. If he went out there, blowed Helenius out inside the first few minutes, it would have been, what a joke of a replacement, what a joke of a replacement. If he took his time like he did Saturday night, and then gets the job done, he was too cautious, so he was never going to win. Listen, about the fight itself, what do I think? Listen, I do think I would have liked to have seen him get his feet there a lot earlier. Listen, but I think what a lot of people are going to do is talk about the highlight reel KO, so that takes the mind or the opinions of a lot of people away what happened earlier. Listen, for me, was it the best anti-Joshua performance? No, absolutely not. You know, you would have loved to see him step in behind his jab, and I do believe he could have got the job done a lot earlier. I believe you might have been overthinking things a little bit too much. You can see him trying new things, but I think people want to see that little bit of ruthlessness from AJ. With that said, it's heavyweight boxing, you have to go about the job smart. What I just feel on the fight itself, it's an unbelievable shot to finish it. But he'll go away, he'll analyse that, and I do believe that really. I think he analyses absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And some people have gone, he's thinking too much, And listen, I get that. Like I say, I believe if he would have done that a good 3 rounds earlier, we would have been talking about it, and you might have not heard a few of the boos, but I mean, those boos are crazy. Do you know what I mean, in my opinion? But listen, I'd like to see him just a little bit more assertive with his jab. I think he's got a fantastic jab. He's got an unbelievable lead hand. Just, you know, be a little bit more positive with it. But it's an all in all highlight reel KO. Him and Deontay Wilder looks like it's done thereabouts for later in the year, early next year.
Yeah.
And I think AJ knows himself he can't be as sensitive and, you know, it sounds weird, I'm contradicting myself, I would say as careful. You've got to be even more careful with Wilder, but he's just got to have a little bit more belief in himself. And that's what I think we'll see that. I think lessons will be learned.
It's an interesting one to look forward to, as you said. It seems that one's pretty much a done deal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But in terms of the card itself, there was Derek Chisora against Gerald Washington. And what did you make of that? I mean, obviously Derek's said post-fight that he's going to carry on and no one's going to tell him to stop. There's been a lot of calls for him to stop now. He's made a load of dough. He's achieved great things, really. You know, hasn't he? But what's your opinion of the fight and then where he goes from here?
So with Derek, I'm going back to maybe 2005 or 2006. I first met him, he just won his ABA title, and he's always been a great character, and genuinely there's a lot of love for Derek Chisora, and I believe anyone around Derek cares about what you're saying. Right, Derek, let's wrap it up now. He's Derek, and he's like, no, do you know what? I'm not retiring. He's not the greatest statement, but I think Derek's come out of retirement supporters and stuff. But there comes a time where you've got to think and you've got to be smart. You've got to be smart. And Derek, he isn't the fighter he once was. That's pretty evident to hear. And I didn't enjoy watching him Saturday night. I always loved watching Derek Chisora fight, but I just know now that that time has come, and it's hard now because he's saying I'm having another 3 fights. So if you want to carry on, at what level do you carry on? At what level do you carry on?
He wants to go to 50, doesn't he? 50 fights, yeah.
And does he have some of these crossover fights? Does he?
Well, that would make more. You know, I mean, you could understand that now, couldn't you? I mean, we don't want to see it with Tyson Fury, do we? Because he's at the peak of his powers. Or should be.
But that's what I mean. So does Derek want to carry on in these crossover fights? And it's all right. People going, the board shouldn't allow the license. It doesn't work like that because you've got to admit, Derek will still be a good. Well, not some of it. He's beat probably most of the heavyweights in Britain still at this point in his career. So how can you then grant the license to fighters who aren't? But then it's it's hard watching. You just wish Derek listened to those people around him. He's had an unbelievable career. Good, Derek, let's just walk away. Saturday night, Dave Caldwell said something similar when we was with him.
Yeah.
In a previous fight, and you certainly wouldn't have argued then. He's come out, unbelievable entrance, bit of Hotel California. The Barbie theme was going on. Everyone cheering his name. His kids there to see, you know, his final fight. If it was that, what a perfect ending.
Yeah, it would be.
It wasn't the best Derek, but he got the win against, you know, a decent contender. Let's walk out on that. But Dell's Delaney, and I think we're going to see more.
Yeah. What about Johnny Fisher? He's still got that fan
I
base,
thought it
isn't
was,
it's not relenting, is it? I mean, it's great, really, at this stage of a fight's career, very novice stage at the heavyweight. He's got that incredible fan base that turn out for him. And I mean, again, how far can he go on the basis of Saturday night? If you want to judge him on that,
I think it was a very good learning fight for him. I thought he was a very good opponent.
Harry Armstrong was game, wasn't he?
Harry,
Very game.
I thought he was a very good opponent. Do you know what? He asked some good questions, and I thought that's what I thought before. I thought he was on about matchmaking before. I thought it was the perfect fight for him where didn't have it all his own way. He got questions asked, but he come through it.
Yeah.
And got finished. And he's a work in progress. But I certainly believe Johnny Fisher is improving.
Harry Armstrong, there's a lot about him. There's a lot to like. He just couldn't take the shots that well.
He just. Saying is whether it was Johnny or whatever, he just couldn't handle the power of Johnny Fisher. The times when you was watching him, think, oh, he's getting back into this. Johnny had land something and he'd come unstuck. But no, a real good learning fight for Johnny Fisher.
What else stood out for you?
On that card, it didn't stand out. Hrgovic beat Dempsey McKean, looked destined to go points. That they stopped him in the last round, didn't they? I know we had Campbell out. Got another good learning fight with Campbell Hatton. George Courtney, again, likewise against Shemarouk. I feel like there's probably George Liddard. Again, do you know what? I thought the three prospects, I thought they was matched well. Then, before, the ones who come on, do you know, before the bell. I know Campbell come on after, didn't he? Sorry. But no, I thought there was, I feel like I missed something out here, and I apologise, but if it did. But no, all in all, the show went on.
I'm trying to think, was that the full, Brandon Scott?
Brandon Scott, gee, how can I forget about him? He made sure we knew about him. And again, no, a good performance, a learning fight, and one of he was, a lot of people were talking about him last week, Spider-Man, Darth Vader, character.
And well, certainly they're going to have to keep an eye on him at press conferences, because you don't know what he's going to come out with.
Yeah, but no, great kid, and he's living the dream there, living the dream.
There was a big event stateside in terms of Emmanuel Navarrete against Oscar Valdez, and Valdez has been in some belters, hasn't he, over the years. He's been in some fantastic fights, and again, just assess that performance, that showing. I mean, it was a top fight.
Listen, you expected a top fight. I was in for a potential fight of the year, but no, fantastic fight. And listen, Valdez will always fight hard. He always will. Always give it everything, and he's been a top fighter, but. Navarrete was so important, so impressive. Unbelievable performance from Navarrete. He won well. Won well, and listen, he come out the ring, and a fight like that, he come out the ring looking exactly the same. I know which time Steve Belfort coming out lumps and bruises, but Navarrete really, I mean, listen, anyone in boxing knows how good he is, but really announced himself as an elite fighter the way he went about that.
Yeah, he did. So, all in all then, so you were happy enough then with the Matchroom show in London, given everything that happened with Dillian White and the failing
there's always
tests
going to be
and all
criticism,
that,
but we got to see Anthony Joshua out. Like I say, it wasn't his best performance.
You got a few Guinnesses down your neck in London as well.
Of course I did, and no, it was a good night.
Next week, or this weekend coming up I should say, it's Birmingham, isn't it? The next gen.
The very talented Galal Yafai.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable boxing family. Obviously Cal, Gamal, and Galal might, I know he's got the Olympic gold medal, and I think the boys will probably say they might just end up being the best of a lot of them, which is some going because they're an unbelievable fighting family.
Yeah, they're kind of the only rivals to the Smiths, really, aren't they?
Yeah, when you look at it, what we've done and stuff. Yeah, no, but yeah, he's Galal Yafai. I think you see how he's been matched. I know we've got Tommy Frank.
Yeah, super Tommy Frank. I think you've got
super Tommy Frank. Tommy I like well.
Yeah, good lad from Sheffield's Tommy Frank.
Yeah, Glenrose Gym and stuff like that. But listen, there's no denying he's in. You'd think he's in for a very tough night this weekend. But no, Galal Yafai, I think people see it's not every win's a world title, it's when. He is that good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we look forward to that one. And what's the rest of the week hold for you?
Rest
I mean,
of the
you
week.
up to usual crawler things. You'll be in the gym, obviously, every day with your fighters. And
I will be. A few of them will start getting dates soon. I know it's an unbelievably busy September for all the promoters on both TV, non-TV shows. So yeah, I'll be busy with that, and I
you
think
live a
we'll
rest?
be running it down to Birmingham. Yep, that's certainly needed. And after a few days in London with you, mate. So yeah, Birmingham it is. And just by the way, Birmingham, that's a belting little card. That next gen card. You've got Cyrus Patterson on it, Conor Walker, Solomon Dacrez is on it. No, I'm all for those next gen kind of shows, and yeah, so might even be there.
excellent. Well, that's it. So we've witnessed a very, very memorable, inspirational thing today in terms of the 24-hour boxathon with Dave Thompson raising money for Mentel. A horrible story that they're taking positives out of now and raising money to make sure that other families get help and everything else. So it has been great here at Bell's Gym. So it's been great talking to everybody, and we look forward to episode 11 next week.
We do. And I'm normally like click, link, subscribe,
Do all of
follow.
that, yeah,
do that
absolutely.
anyway, which
Yeah.
is perfect I've just done. But also remember the link, Mentel there.
Just
unbelievable
giving.
cause.
It's just giving Mental boxing, isn't it? If anyone wants to get involved and have a look at what's gone on here, I'm sure there's going to be an awful lot of footage all over Instagram and that kind of thing as well. So there we have it. That is episode 10 done. We look forward to next week. This is the Boxing Review Show.